Hello children and welcome to the session today. Children, every day to do the number of activities that we do, the number of activities people around us do, they keep moving from one place to another. Sometimes you may have to travel from your room or your bed to the washroom. Sometimes you have to travel from your home to your school. There are times when you travel up the hills or down to the beach to spend your vacations. So every time we are moving from one place to another. Early man also did the same kind of movement for several different reasons. But at that time, he was moving only on foot in comparison to the means of transport that we have today. Now, what all has changed from that time till this time? We are going to learn in chapter number 13, motion and measuring distances. So children, as I said, early man majorly moved on foot. Now, after moving on foot, he began to domesticate animals. So, that is how he began to ride the mule, the horse, and even the elephant. After this, he was able to create a sledge. A sledge, as we all know, is a wheel-less cart. After the discovery of wheel came the wheel carts, because of which he was able to move from one place to another. And over these thousands of years, we have come a long way. We have developed metro trains, car, bullet trains, buses, and aeroplanes, and even ships, cruise ships, etc. So children, moving from one place to another has become very easy. The very movement of one person from one place to another, or to go by your book, the change in the position of an object with time, with respect to its surrounding, is known as motion. And this basically means that if you move from your study table and move to the washroom and back to your study table, you are undertaking motion. Motion depicts the distance that is covered by a moving object. So children, when an object moves, for example, when you moved a certain distance, what did you cover? You covered a certain length. So how do you decide how much distance you covered? You decide that by measuring length. Now, what is measurement? Measurement is referred to as the comparison of the quantity to be measured with a reference standard. And what is this reference standard? This is known as a unit. Now, all these quantities like length that can be measured are known as physical quantities. So, just like length, mass, time, temperature, speed, force, electric current, all these are physical quantities that can be measured. So, children, why do we need to measure distance? We need to measure length to know the distance that we have traveled. So, before going to a holiday, maybe from Jaipur to Mount Abu, you would want to know the distance that you need to travel. Measurement of length gives an idea about how far a place is situated. It also helps us to buy many things. So, when you go to the market and you buy a cloth, you have to tell them the length. You say, I want 5 meters of cloth. When you are buying a wire, pipe, or wood, etc., you have to tell them how long you want. Now, as we've just said that measurement is done against a standard unit. So, what are these standard units of length? The standard unit of length is known as meter. Now, other than meter, we also use inch, millimeter, centimeter, kilometer, etc. Now, depending on the thing that I have to measure, I am going to use these units. So, for example, I have to measure the distance between Delhi and Jaipur. So, what am I going to use? Of course, kilometer, not inches. If I have to measure the length of my table, what will I do? I will probably use meters or maybe inches. So, if I have to measure very long distances, then what do I have to do? If I have to measure the distance of the sun from the earth, what unit will I use? I will use the unit light year. What is 1 light year equal to? It is equal to 9.46 into 10 raised to the power 15 meter. And very small lengths, like the lengths of microorganism, how do we measure that? We measure them using micrometer, microns, angstroms, nanometers and femtometer. What are the different devices that we use in order to measure distances? We use the ruler, the measuring tape, or you use a stiff magnetic measuring tape. Ruler, I'm sure that you all have been using in your classroom on a daily basis. Now children, we are talking about measuring lengths in a straight line. How about measuring the length of a curved line? How do we do that? Let's watch a video to understand the same. In case you have to measure the length of a curved line, take a thread and tie a knot at one of its ends. To measure the length of a curved line, place the knot of the thread at point A of the curved line. Move the thread carefully along the length of the curved line, holding the thread at small distances between your thumb and first finger. Continue till you reach point B of the curved line. Put a mark on the thread using a pen. Place the stretched thread along a meter scale and measure the distance between the knot, point A, and the mark of the pen on the thread, point B. Motion of different objects can be classified in different ways. When an object moves along a straight line, its motion is called rectilinear motion. The motion of moon around the earth, running of an athlete on a circular track, and motion of the tip of the hands of a clock are examples of circular motion. When an object moves around a circular path, it is said to be in circular motion. When an object moves along a curved path, it is said to be in curvilinear motion. So children, here in this video, we saw how we can measure the length of a curved line. Now sometimes, for example, when your mother is cooking food, she does not exactly find a measuring spoon to put in salt, pepper, red chili, etc. She knows exactly how much. And this knowledge of exactly how much is known as estimation. Estimation is a very, very important factor in estimating time, volume, temperature, etc. Now, for example, the different scientists who are involved in the preparation of different medicines know exactly how much of which chemical to put so that there is no mistake in making the medicine. Now, this was about measuring distances. Now, let us again come back to motion. In order to revise, let us study the definition of motion once again. So, an object is said to be in motion if it changes its position with the passage of time. So, we know that the hands of a clock are constantly moving. Only when the battery dies, the clock stops moving. On the other hand, the blackboard in your classroom always appears to be in the same place. So, it is not in motion, it is stationary. Now, what are the different kinds of motion? Let us watch a video to understand the same. When an object moves about a fixed axis without changing its position, it is said to be in rotatory motion. A motion that repeats itself after regular intervals of time is called periodic motion. The motion that does not repeat itself after regular intervals of time is called non-periodic motion. So children, we have learned the different kinds of motion. Now let us quickly revise them from your book as well. So the first category of motion is translatory motion. Translatory motion means that all the particles of the body are covering the same distance in the same time. That is translatory motion. So, this is of two types. Motion along a straight line, which is known as rectilinear motion, and motion along a curved path, which is known as a curvilinear motion. So, all these marching soldiers are together moving in a straight line. This is rectilinear motion. Whereas a roller coaster or a merry-go-round is an example of curvilinear motion. Then comes circular motion or rotatory motion, in which an object is moving along a fixed point. This is as in case of the fan. Oscillatory motion as in case of pendulum clocks or in case of the swing. The body is moving to and fro about a fixed point at the top. Then comes periodic motion. The motion of a body that repeats itself will be known as periodic motion, like the movement of the needle of a sewing machine or the movement of Earth around the sun. A non-periodic motion will not repeat itself at regular intervals. For example, rising and falling of waves. This keeps happening but not at the same interval. Then comes uniform motion. For example, if there are 4 points on a road, A, B, C, D. All these points are, for example, 1 kilometer apart from each other. And if every time a car begins from point A and takes exactly 10 minutes to cover the distance from A to B, then B to C, and then C to D, then it is going to be called uniform motion. However, if the car takes 5 minutes to complete the first kilometer, 10 minutes to complete the second kilometer, and 3 minutes to complete the third kilometer, it will become non-uniform motion. Children, sometimes in a moving object, you will see more than one kind of motion. How? So, for example, when a ball rolls on the ground, it goes in a straight line, but at the same time, the ball is rolling. So, what is this? This is rotatory motion as well as rectilinear motion. Second example is an electric disc. Just like the ball, it also has got translatory and rotatory motion. When a car moves on the road, the car is moving in a straight line, but the wheels are constantly in rotation. The earth, when moving around the sun, is doing two kinds of motion, the rotatory motion and translatory motion. So children, this was about motion and measurement. So we have learnt in this chapter how measurement of distances or length is very important. We have learned the meaning and use of standard units. We've also learned the kinds of motion that exist around us and the combination with which these motions work together. Time for you to do the exercises at the back. Thank you.